fucking give you a sob story. Like, I'm not.
Jesus Christ.
What?
Oh my god.
Throw.
Impact's chill, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, sometimes I pull 30 viewers, okay, bro?
I be doing that.
Just, you don't have to
Chat, I don't know who was
like
here.
5 right now.
I don't know who was here.
My
What?
shit is decreasing. I got 5 viewers right now. No.
I don't know who was here when I told that story about somebody who I was with that made me put her hands on her. I had consent to have sex with her, and then she months later thought that I fucking sexually assaulted her. I don't know who was there for that. I have said this story on stream maybe a couple times now. I hate telling that story because of how icky it is, but on top of that, we do have every screenshot possible, witnesses possible to prove that none of that is true. So, if any of these motherfuckers, any of these girls who think they know anything, want to try me, seriously, I will sue you. And then I'll use that money and buy a third house. In LA. Y'all have my number. Why don't y'all just text me? Why don't you communicate with me? What do you need to say? What more do you even need to say? That's the real thing. Even if I were to get into a call with you. Oh, you did this. It's like,
You thought it was feeling you?
if you're in here, Space Buns, that was Maddie Honey. Thank you.
W Maddie.
Seriously, I don't know what Panda has on you. But Panda's a very, like, you know, he knows his shit. And he told me that you would, like, back the fuck up. And seeing as you haven't, like, let me see what this is. If it's something to put you into another depressive spiral, I'm not trying to make fun of people who go into depression. I wouldn't wish that amongst my worst enemies, but I would definitely wish it on you. Because you have been nothing but a nuisance. A pubic nuisance.
Before I start today's video, I'd like to give you a quick disclaimer that in this video we will be discussing sexual assault allegations. If you're uncomfortable with that kind of conversation, or you're just not really wanting to be around that sort of content, I would recommend you click off the video now. When you hear the name FaZe Clan, you usually think of gamers, MLG, trick shots, the lot. And hopefully what doesn't come to mind is sexual assault allegations. Today we will be discussing FaZe Mew, previous Fortnite trick shotter turned, I guess, just all-round content creator who's been doing pretty well on Twitch as of late. We'll be looking at TwitLonger from a content creator known as ashtronova, who has posted a TwitLonger discussing her experience with Mew. I also want to preface this with these are allegations. I said this in multiple videos of mine now. If you are realistically watching and indulging in this sort of content, or you are trying to just understand more about these sort of situations, please do not use it as a way to just pick a side. These stories do not involve probably 99% of you. These stories are stories of other people. These aren't your stories. Therefore, please, I urge you, do not just pick sides. It is the most inconsiderate, rude and pathetic behavior to just pick sides online and sort of pick apart people's behavior in the sense that you feel like replying to people's sexual assault experience stories online, whether they be true or false in your mind, it doesn't matter. If you don't believe it, click away. Don't indulge in that content. You do not need to respond to them saying, damn, you're definitely lying and all this shit. It's not helpful. It doesn't help anyone. It also doesn't help people responding to other people saying, you're this, you're that, you're this. You just need to say, if you feel that strongly about it, and if a certain content creator being called out isn't looking at it or responding to it, you can urge them to respond or give their 2 cents on it, because realistically, they should be able to tell you that they know nothing about it, or they should be able to tell you that's not true. And if they can't do that easily, you know, just have some respect, please, all right, before we get into this, because this happens every single time anyone discusses any sort of allegations online. Everyone picks a side, and it always turns into a nuclear war. If we could just, please, thank you. The first tweet that propped up for me was this one, which was my story with a TwitLonger attached to it. Obviously, this is the TwitLonger. Exactly a year ago, a content creator I trusted as a longtime friend, former teammate, and even role model did something terrible to me. Last year, I was invited to Kerry, FaZe Mew's house, to participate in a subathon he was hosting, and I was a surprise guest. He flew me to Texas, and I was vlogging content for my own channel. That vlog never went up. Pre-subathon, he was praising my content, my streams, work ethic. He was dropping me raids, inviting me to play games with him, telling his stream how he saw me as a huge role model for him, how I helped him break into streaming, and how he watched my streams before he even started his own. telling everyone how he loved my content. I was excited to go down there and network with other creators, his friends, and make videos with everybody at this content house. Fast forward to the last night I was there, we all went to a club. It was everyone at the house and some other content creators who went with us. Leo, Bailey, Nico, with a few I could really remember. At this point, there was no signals I got from you that he liked me or anything the entire week I was there. It was completely professional up until the point where he started buying me drinks. It didn't seem like he was doing this for anybody else except me, and I just assumed it was because maybe I was the surprise guest for his subathon, and that I would be made at home. That's how I interpreted it, at least. I don't know how many drinks he gave me that night. I was dancing with the other girls and getting over my social anxiety and trying to socialize and make friends with everyone. There was a point where I started realizing how drunk I was, but he kept handing me more drinks as soon as I finished another, and I kept drinking because I just wanted to have a good time. To me, I was with good people and people I could trust. The rest of the night is a blur. My memory of it was it all happened so fast. I remember being told when I was already super drunk that he said he had always liked me and had a crush on me. It hurt a little. Just make sure that's recording. It hurt a little to think that I was there because of other reasons and not because of content. It especially hurt that he would wait to tell me something like that when I'm extremely drunk and he wasn't. That when I was drunk, that would be the time he would shoot his shot. He wasn't drinking like me though. I remember being asked what I thought of him and I answered, honestly, we're just friends. We're long-time friends because of gaming. I don't remember what happened after that, but he stuck close to me for the rest of the night. I was so drunk I could barely walk. He carried me on his back when I needed to find a bathroom after we left the club. When I got worried that we might not find our way back to the car and that I didn't know where we were, he assured me he was sober and that I could trust him to take care of me. I filmed a lot of videos of us during that walk from the club. He even had a heart-to-heart talking about our content. That's why I was there. I opened up about my personal struggles with streaming and consistency. I was bawling my eyes out about how I was failing my own community. I thought Mew would be the perfect person to go through this about, because he's a content creator too and could relate, despite being told what I was told earlier about his crush on me, that maybe we could just forget about it and keep talking about streaming and videos. We got home, I was absolutely wasted at this point. I texted my friends that night, things that could barely be deciphered. All I wanted to do when we got back was go outside and feel the Orbeez in the pool from after the subathon, and I wanted to look at the stars. That's all I wanted to do. He said he'd come with me and followed me outside. I remember I was still crying about gaming and content, even more this time. I cry a lot when I drink. The next thing I remember was him kissing me. I was confused about it, but I did kiss him back, and thought whatever about it. He didn't kiss me for long. He went straight to groping my body and being rough about it. It was weird. It was very weird, like some power thing. Again, he was sober, and I was not all there. I'm pretty sure I gave consent, but I was drunk. But I don't remember how we got to this room, but I knew that we had sex. The fact I don't remember much of it is the upsetting part. He hurt me during it, it was painful, and he was not gentle with me at all. He degraded me during it, and I felt ashamed, mostly because I can't even remember what I did. I just knew it happened. I never wanted anybody to know what happened because I was embarrassed. I let someone do those things to me, so I just tried to forget it even happened. The next day I remember he was asking me over and over if I regret it type questions, and he apologized to me and I don't remember why. But he apologized to me. All I knew was that he had sex, and it was not great. That morning, he was telling me that I consented the night before, and I just agreed with him that I did. Okay, I did then. I told myself it was my decision. I kept telling myself over and over that it was my decision. And I made it, and not him. And it was okay. And everything would be okay. Even though none of that was okay. He made me swear to keep it between us. That was fine with me because I didn't want anybody to ever know. I decided to forget any of that had happened. It was my way of coping with it. Just forget, pretend, continue being his friend, focus on my vlog, focus on filming and streaming. Mew started love bombing me after that night. When I went home, he sent me home with a couple of gifts, then started sending loads of stuff to my house randomly. Like flowers, chocolates, snacks, teddy bears, plushies, etc. for the next few weeks. Where is that? There it is. He kept pressuring me to reassure him that I did consent that night. He would not drop it. He needed to get it in writing or something, like he was feeling guilty about what he did. I still have texts of him saying, I know I'm asking this for the 4th time, but you have no regrets about that night, right? Long after that night. He kept asking me for reassurance that what he did was okay, which was so weird to me. He'd asked me over text and over the phone multiple times. He needed proof so badly for some reason. That's not normal, right? If you did nothing wrong in the first place? Anyways, it made me uncomfortable. All the gifts he was sending to my house. He had my address and sent them as surprises. I never asked for anything. I started to feel in debt to his kindness. I kept talking to him over text, pretending it was all okay. Because I wanted it to be okay. But I still felt gross about myself. I thought if I tried to talk to him romantically or try to produce feelings for him like that, then it would make what happened okay, and our hookup wouldn't feel icky or weird anymore, if you could call it a hookup, one I barely remember. He asked to take me out on a date, and I agreed, but I never saw him again after that because I ghosted him, because I was uncomfortable and a part of something that I never wanted to be a part of from the start. That night I was drunk and he had sex with me. He was in a relationship at the time. I didn't know that. He cheated on his girlfriend that night to do what he did. I didn't know this until a few weeks ago. We talked for about a month afterwards, and during that month I kept giving excuses that I'm too busy to talk, too busy with college and my job, even though it was a lie. It just felt weird to talk to someone who I'd always seen as a friend, to try to talk to them like we were actually talking to someone because of what happened that night, not because I felt something towards him. I don't know why I did this. I just so badly wanted things to be okay. I wanted to still be his friend. I wish I could have come to my senses sooner. I knew that if I'd been sober that night, none of that would have happened. I wouldn't have had sex with him, and I know I wouldn't have made that decision sober. I didn't like him like that. I never did. He was supposed to be my friend. I cut it off slowly, and I completely stopped texting him, and I moved on with my life. I would get sent clips from his stream where he would talk shit about me on his stream, saying he was talking to a girl who just used him for clout and money, which confuses me because none of that was true. Even with saying those things about me, he would still come to my streams afterward, raid me, donate money to me, give me attention I never asked for. Fast forward to January, a few months after the subathon and months after I had not said a word to him. This is when very serious allegations from other women started to arise about Mew online. My name was mentioned in these allegations. I started getting scared because I never told anybody about that night. Only him and his roommates knew what happened. I went to him about it and he acted confused on how my name would even pop up. I still have the voice recordings he sent me about it. He told me not to worry about what they were saying and assured that they were just crazy and so obsessed with me. Those girls were accusing him of very serious things, all with similar stories to the one I have. He brushed it off to me as nothing. He twisted the story to make it sound like they're all lying and just jealous of him, wanting to bring him and his success down. He tried his best to sound like a good guy, like he cared about their well-being. It was just a facade. He wanted to keep appearing to be the good guy in all of this. He went private on his socials and said something about suing them for defamation. I stayed out of it. For the next year, I lied to myself about what happened to me. I didn't want any of that to be true. I wanted him to be my friend. I wanted to be friends with someone like him. He's in FaZe. He has his own content house. He's a dedicated fandom. He's charismatic. He's good at talking to people, something I'm not very good at and I looked up towards. He promised me he'd help me with my content and my streams. He promised me he'd help me become a better content creator, giving me tips to grow, such as liking lots of random tweets with keywords to get people to follow you, to grow inorganically. I tried it once and that never again. It felt fake. I couldn't do it. He promised me he'd always be there for me if I needed it. He promised me he'd be my friend. There was always something dishonest about him. Couldn't put my finger on it. Even when the cameras were off, he talked like he was still on camera. I could never trust him. He was always a victim. Everything that came out of his mouth would be how everyone is so evil and how every girl breaks his heart. Every friend always breaks his trust. That he's a good guy and doesn't deserve any of this. In my gut, I knew something was off about him, with the way he talked about himself and other people, especially women. That's why I kept my distance after that. I was just there because I didn't want my name being brought up anymore. I wanted to just stay neutral and not be involved. All I cared about was my own content, my own name, and not his giant circle of drama he brought onto himself. I stayed away. I stayed silent. The next time I saw him was at the airport when I was invited to the Call of Duty event. He switched his flight to meet me at the airport. I thought it would be okay because I felt uneasy. I thought it would be okay, but I felt uneasy. I wanted things to be okay with us again. I've only seen him twice before. This was before I knew in detail about his other allegations. I unfollowed him as soon as I found out about them, which was a few days ago. A month ago, he wrote a song about me ghosting him. Initially, my ego loved it. I felt cool. I felt special enough to be mentioned, even after all this time. I couldn't exactly make out what the lyrics were, just that he said that I was pretty and stuff. I never talked to him about it, though, and he never talked to me about it, until I listened to it. The parts where he called me a little freak, which I felt was bold to say about someone who couldn't even remember anything about that night, except how it hurt. Around this time, I stopped lying to myself and relived that night, and I cried for a really long time, because I had been keeping it to myself. Then I started doing research and decided to look into his old allegations from earlier that year, from the other girls, to see if it matched up with what I went through. I reached out to his ex first. They did not come to me first. I went to them for help. I went to them for answers I wanted to know what happened to those girls. I wanted to know if he did to them what he did to me. And he did worse things I didn't even know about until now. And it made me start to feel sick. I reread my journal about that night. I felt numb. It wasn't how I remembered in my head, but it was out there on paper. It was like I was preyed on. Waited until I was vulnerable and struck when I was drunk and bawling my eyes out. I've been told his roommates made a pact together after I left, promising to say nothing happened between us. They knew what happened, and they promised to lie about it for Mew. I am so disappointed in that entire house for letting him do whatever he wants to women and help him twist stories to make him a victim. Most of all, I'm disappointed in Hawkey, one of my former mods and friends who was there that night and made the pact. They watched Mew take me back to his room when I was wasted and made that pact to protect him. And now I know I wasn't the only girl he'd done this to in that house, and my story isn't even that bad compared to the other girls, because I at least remember having sex. Not all of us can say that. Though that does not diminish what happened to me. I trusted him, and I trusted everyone in that house. When I heard Shorty was moving in, I should have listened to my gut when I started worrying about her moving into his content house. I was scared for what might happen to her, even though I wouldn't talk to myself about why that is. Why I feel that way. I shouldn't have asked myself why I was worried. Thankfully, she's in a relationship and never had anything to worry about. I am disappointed in everybody at that content house for letting this happen to us and sweeping it under the rug. Sweeping all the other allegations he had against him under the rug. Making a pact and focusing on how to save his reputation online and not make things okay with those he hurt in the process. But these stories are not mine to tell. If the other girls want to come forward, they have my support 1000%. If they need someone else to tell their story, I will back them. I will put everything I have made for myself as Astronova on the line for these women. I'll take the hit for doing what's right. I don't care about anything else. I need all of this to be brought into the light. I feel so guilty for not believing them sooner and sticking to his side when his exes tried to come forward before. Everything those girls said online ended up being true. Everything. We have been putting our pieces together and finally seeing the full picture for ourselves. I have been terrified to come out and tell everyone my story. I've been lying to my own friends and saying nothing happened between him and I. But I think the worst part of all this, that my story isn't the last you'll hear. His behavior is a pattern. When I found out me and the other girls share similar, almost exact stories, something broke in me. I have to do something about it. I refuse to be scared of him and what he'll do to make it all go away any longer. I wrote this earlier before I went to class. I wanted to make an edit. Mew doesn't know what I'm going to say. He only knows I've unfollowed him and followed 2 of his exes. And with that information, he spent the next 28 hours editing a video titled Allegations.mp4. This picture of him editing has since been deleted. I followed these girls first. I came to my own conclusions. His crazy obsessed exes had nothing to do with that. I went to them for help, and they told me things I will not repeat here because they're not my stories to tell. I find it gross that he filmed us without my consent, like he needed to get proof. I find it odd that he felt he needed to get proof of that, like he was preparing his proof before he did anything. There's so many red flags to see how he reacts about getting my consent and how badly he needed concrete proof of it all. As if I was in a state where it would be questioned, and if I could even remember consenting as well. His reaction to that has me questioning many things. It's almost like he wants to remove me from the equation because I am the pathway to letting these girls speak their truths. That's why he's coming for me and not them. He silenced them a long time ago. He's milking this for content and it's disgusting. I will speak my truth no matter the repercussions. I'm willing to put everything in my reputation, everything I built for myself on the line because this can't keep getting swept under the rug. We will be heard. We're telling our stories. This is not content. This isn't funny. This is serious, and I'm disappointed it's being treated as a piece of content and hyped up as a video. After reading that insanely long TwitLonger that is filled with a lot, right? There's a lot to uncover and dig up here. Hours later, FaZe Clan issue a statement saying we're taking the accusations against Mew seriously and taking all measures to investigate the situation, which at the moment, I really do think is a cop-out for a lot of these gaming organizations. It's a fair professional stance, I must agree. However, I see it so many times now, especially the Sentinels one from Valorant with Sinatra. I still cannot believe how, weird that investigation is. If you do any research into that, you'll see how weird they went and just so strange. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, again, these gaming creators coming up now, they have such young audiences from Valorant and Fortnite that their fans really, really listen to them, especially if they're the same target audience for people like Andrew Tate. They will not believe a word of these, or at least, because again, you don't have to believe this as if it's fact, because realistically, there's 2 sides to every story. Because realistically, there's 3 sides to every story. Actor number 1, actor number 2, and the truth. But not enough people want to hear that. They just want someone to hate on and someone to defend and stand over. And that's the issue that we have here, unfortunately. Mew then quote retweets us saying, "I support FaZe with an indefinite suspension while I take matters into my own hand." This immediately sent shockwaves through my spine because that is the weirdest, strangest response. I understand that you want to deal with this yourself, because realistically, you will feel quite embarrassed if this is all made up and it's, or at least taken way out of context and, you know, overhyped. The amount of times I've seen people that have a couple of allegations put out against them who then respond with things like, "Oh, I'm taking legal action and I'm doing it myself. I'll take it into my own hands. I'll deal with this. Don't worry, guys. I got this. I'll do it the right way." They usually have so many allegations come out afterwards that they are buried by them, completely buried by them, because they are known for doing this. And this sort of language is very, very easy ways of getting out of jail for free card. This is it for them. It's a very easy way to just dip out. Anyone with an actual sense of, I don't know, emotion or care, if someone that you liked, someone that you engaged with in more than a platonic way, had come out and said stuff about you in this way after they said this, yeah, you might feel extremely disrespected, but it takes one shred of thought to realize that just be empathetic towards them, right? If they feel this way about their situation and they didn't even feel comfortable coming to you privately, then there's probably an issue here. Like, you can't be that deep in denial to think that you'll always be 100% in the right, because no one ever is. So it's crazy that these people go straight to, "I will deal with this in my own hands." And an example of this was literally Crazy Slick. Crazy Slick said so many, like, immediately when he was, his first big allegations came out, he was just like this, where he was like, "Yep, don't worry guys, I'm dealing with it myself. I'll get lawyers. I can't believe anyone will fucking say this about me." What happens? Oh, it looks like he messaged every fucking girl on twitch.tv asking them for sex and nudes and being extremely over creepy and strange towards women. Shocker. So seeing it again, yeah, massive red flag. I understand you might feel disrespected, but there's ways of dealing with things like this, and it's called empathy and sympathy. Even if you feel disrespected, you have to understand that someone feels this way about it, because not everything in life is cynical. Not everything that is negative that is thrown towards a content creator is for clout and attention. It's not exactly how all this works, even though everyone has been made to believe that it is how it works. It isn't. He then addresses the allegations with his own TwitLonger. As you all know, there is a pending FaZe investigation into allegations by ashtronova of events that occurred over a year ago, and I'm suspended indefinitely during this period. We have taken a few days to submit my statement and associated evidence to FaZe to comply with my obligations there. At this point, it has become necessary to address these allegations in detail. I'm still evaluating legal action with my legal team, but these allegations are so severe and so unfounded that I needed to respond here. Immediately, that was not written by him. That is almost a given here. If you just read his tweets, I think inside of this, TwitLonger as well, there's more clearly Mew in these statements. Kerry, I think his name was. It's not him. That's probably one of the FaZe's lawyers. This happens so much, by the way, where a content creator gets called out like this, and immediately they run to Twitter and they're fumbling. They're fumbling their thumbs because they're looking for an easy way out of this. And this is the thing with Mew. I'm not on anyone's side, but if I am reading anything here, it is reeking very strong of I need to get out of this quickly from Mew. And if you want to deal with this the right way, you will not go the quick way, which is what I feel like he's going for here, which is, again, another red flag. First, I want to say to ashtronova, I'm sorry that it has come to this. Immediately starting with an apology is a good thing, I must say. And I'm adding commentary to this first bit because I still am worried that he didn't exactly write all of this. So therefore, I feel like I can commentate a bit more on it. I'll try not to, though. We both know what occurred back in September 2021, and we both know that we consented and that you never voiced any concern about our interaction until last week. To this extent, you look back and regret anything you did with me. I am sorry that I wish this wasn't the case. I wish we could have discussed things between us instead of airing our issues in public. I will address the entire situation as framed by ashtronova, as these events that happened over a year ago. This is my recollection based on memory and looking back at old messages and posts. The numbers are to correspond to screenshots and videos of my claims, which will be provided in the Twitter thread. She claims that before flying to my house in September 21, that she and I had only completely professional discussions. This is not true. Ashtronova and I had traded compliments and flirty messages prior to her visit, including in August 2021, just before she asked to be in my subathon stream. I knew I was being flirty and asked her if it was too much. She said, never ever. I don't want to do this, but because he's done it in segments, I'm going to throw my 2 cents into these because I feel like this, you know, I feel like some people need to hear this. This is not flirting. Okay? This is not flirting. At least I do not see her flirting back at all. True. And then him saying, I love your eyes. She's saying, those are contacts. He says, don't care. Take my compliments. I need to take over Galaxy's title of being Ash's simp. She's like, okay, bet. Okay, good. Let me know if it becomes too much. Never ever. That is not like, I was being flirty and asked her if it was too much. She said never ever. Also, this is important to read. Traded compliments and flirty messages. That is not proof of trading compliments and flirty messages. I'm very sorry to tell you that. I'm very sorry to tell you that. To me, that just doesn't seem right at all. So, not starting off strong, I have to admit. But again, I'm going to try not to commentate on this much because realistically, my opinion doesn't matter. You're not here for that. You're here for the statement. But so many people are for some reason, taking sides and using this as a way to just attack and throw hate on women content creators, especially the ones involved. But a lot of kids are also taking other female content creators and saying, oh, you do it all for clout, oh. Later that same month, Hawkeye posted about finding guests for my subathon and Ashtronova responded asking to attend. She and I texted and I offered to pay for her flight to Dallas to hang out with myself and the content house, which she gladly accepted. We were both excited to hang out that weekend. So she says, me, to an invite. Here's her saying that she works on these certain days and she'll try and get the day off. Here's her saying she loves everyone there and she decided to come along. Him offering to buy the plane tickets for him. Okay. When Ashtronova came to the house, we did the subathon and she was on my stream. We had a great time and everything was going really well. After the subathon ended, we went to the bar where one of my friends, DJ Ash, was playing. We went with our friend group. Ashtronova claims that I wasn't buying drinks for anybody except her. This is not true. I was buying drinks for our whole group. We were there to see my friend play and I bought drinks for my people. If you've ever hung out with me, you know this is nothing new and I certainly didn't single her out for drinks. We were at a bar, everyone was drinking and it was a good time. I offered her a total of 2 or 3 drinks that entire night and I drank about the same. Ashtronova never refused a drink, nor told me that she didn't want any drinks. We were also dancing with different people and chatting with other people throughout the night. We didn't talk much at the bar and just danced and hung out with various people until the bar closed at 2 a.m. We all stopped drinking after we left the bar and none of us drank any alcohol for the rest of the night. After that, I walked with her to a restaurant for her to use the restroom. I didn't carry anyone on my back and Ashtronova was walking fine. Again, it's interesting to keep trying and nail the point in like she wasn't even slightly intoxicated because I could tell. Realistically, it's not about that, man. Like if you witness people ingesting alcohol, chances are they have alcohol in their system and their brain isn't sober. Like just because you've had a drink of alcohol and you're not feeling it, it doesn't mean you're sober. That's not exactly how it works. I understand she didn't seem intoxicated to you. However, I mean, there are texts that prove that she was quite clearly intoxicated regardless. We walked to the car with everyone after and talked about her career and content along the way. From what I recall, this wasn't a serious business discussion. We were getting to know each other better. I was being positive and encouraging because I really believe she is a talented content creator. The drive home took about 40 minutes and everyone was chatting and talking the whole way. No one complained about being too drunk or car sick or anything. Once we got home, I made breakfast wraps and we all drank water to rehydrate. Again, we didn't drink any more alcohol that night after leaving the bar. This was really just a normal getting home from the bar type of thing after we cooked and ate. Ashtronova and I continued to hang out. She claims that I followed her to the backyard. This is not true. We walked outside together. I feel like that's the same thing. Yeah, in the context, like being followed sounds creepy, but I think following just means you're walking together. That's just how I think that's the exact same thing. Realistically, that didn't need to be really nailed in, but again, sorry. Again, things were going really well. This was about 3 a.m. and Faria and Jesse watched us go outside. As we were sitting outside discussing life, she started holding my hand and being generally flirtatious. She wasn't slurring her speech or anything and otherwise seemed fine. Eventually we started kissing. As she said in TwitLonger, she kissed me back too. We started kissing And as she said in her TwitLonger, she kissed me back too. So, okay, the wording here should be, sorry to pick this apart, the other TwitLonger just had the odd, like, grammar mistake, but this just doesn't, this one is actually, like, not making sense. Eventually, I kissed her, and as she said in her TwitLonger, she kissed me back too, would be a more accurate thing to say. I thought this was great and thought that she liked me. She states, I'm pretty sure I consented. Context here is important. This was verbal consent. I literally asked her if it was okay if I touched her, and she said yes. She also asked if I was okay with it, and I also said yes. We continued to kiss outside and things progressed, and at this point it was around 4:30 a.m. The story is pretty similar there, other than the fact that he said he asked her if it was okay if he touched her, and that she said yes, but she didn't mention that in her TwitLonger. Again, there's never going to be any proof for that. So I feel like, unfortunately, like this is just a he said, she said about this, because you can't prove any of that. So going over it again and again and again and again is never really going to help. It's not going to do anything. We then went to my room and had sex. Okay. Sorry. Jesus. It's just so blunt. Like, we're talking about something so serious here. It's just, oh, we went to my room and had sex. I wish I could spare details here, but she has brought this event into question. I mean, you did spare a lot of details. Like, you just said, oh, we just went from room and had sex. Like, I mean, from her account, it was quite rough and painful. Like, you're not going to say anything about that. Just leave it. Okay. She also said she was very drunk. Anyway, she never indicated that she didn't want it to happen or otherwise seemed uncomfortable or intoxicated. Okay, but drunk decisions happen. And that's a thing that we're all taught to realize when, you know, you're at a party or you're hanging out with people. Like, maybe don't make these huge decisions that you might think isn't that huge when you're drunk, because you will very likely regret it in the morning when you're not drunk anymore. It's just, if you weren't raised that way, then maybe you shouldn't fucking drink, to be honest with you. I liked her and I thought she liked me too. That was it. Astronova claims that I filmed her without her consent. This is not true. I never filmed her or us in the bedroom. I have no idea where that came from. We went to sleep and woke up next to each other. Again, none of this can be proven, because if there is a cult, like she said, of his friends and stuff, yeah, no, you're never going to know if this is true or not, unless one of the friends realizes this is fucked and come out about it. But it is a little sussy, I will admit, it's a little sussy how she never told anyone about this, apart from her and Mew. They're the only two people that knew it, and her name was then being thrown around the allegations. That is not normal. That means he told someone. You know, that leans into the... So there is a cult friend group of, like, him telling all his friends, you know, in the house, hey, I had sex with that girl last night. Especially when they all saw them go into the room together, which he fails to mention here. He says people watched them go outside, but he didn't say people watched them go into the room. Anyway... strange. The next day we woke up and had a pretty normal morning. My friends Zach, Nika, Faria, Hawkeye, and Jesse saw both Astronova and I sitting together, cuddled on my beanbag chair, and we continued to flirt with each other, showing each other TikToks and our music tastes. I thought things were going great between us. We hung out most of the day. We went to the In-N-Out together, went to the Tesla charging station together while the sun set, and then we went for ice cream. It seemed like we were actually going to date. Though it's just like basically a screen recording of his camera roll from that day. I'm failing to see the relevance other than the fact that like she was okay that day, but that doesn't change much.
It can't be a satellite.
I think it just doesn't change much, like, at all. Like, if you don't have any experience and understanding, or if you've never really heard of a sexual assault story before, or read through allegations and stuff, it's not black and white like this, man. It's not like, oh yeah, well, we had sex and the next day she was fine, so it wasn't sexual assault. It's not how it works. You can still be a victim of sexual assault and be okay the next day. That happens. I don't know how that's so difficult to drill into mostly men's heads. So many people, like, it's disgusting. I have to keep going over it because it's the main point of this video and I'm already 40 minutes in because there's so much to go over. But it's so annoying seeing so many people take sides. There are no sides to this. It's not your story. However, please do not try and trivialize sexual assault. It's such a difficult subject as it is. It's so painfully complex in every single different situation. And yet these kids always go for things like, oh, well, they were fine the next day, that's fine. And even the accused do it as well. It's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. And I hate seeing cop-outs like this. This already seems like it's full of cop-outs. And that is just my opinion, by the way. I'm not taking sides. It's just how I'm seeing it. The first TwitLonger just seemed like, here is an account of what happened. This doesn't seem like, here is an account of what happened. This is more like, how dare they, and all this, like, sort of like, it feels a bit more like it's been punched to my face. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you may have felt that way about the first one, and that's totally fine. Astronova claims that I started love bombing her and pressuring her. This is not true. I was definitely interested in her, and I wanted to date her. I did send her 2 plushies, flowers, and snacks. Because I liked her and thought this is what you do for a girl that you want to date. She never said I was making her uncomfortable or that she wanted me to take anything back. Astronova claims that I kept asking whether she consented for weeks after she returned home. This is not true. First, I've never felt that I did anything wrong. She was not intoxicated, neither was I. Second, I was asking whether she liked me and wanted to hang with me again because I liked her. I asked her on a date and wanted to make sure this wasn't a one-time hookup. I can be insecure when it comes to relationships, and this was one of those moments. As Astronova said, she slowly stopped talking to me. Obviously, that was a bummer, but it happens. At no point over the next year did she raise any concern about the time we spent together that night. We continued to remain friends and things otherwise seemed normal. We texted and some conversation in the meantime, but the thought of dating stopped. There's some more here where he goes over saying, Astronova claims that I wrote a song about her ghosting me. This is not true. I made a song for content called Right Now. This song is not about her, and I referred to her as a little freak. That's absurd. The entire song is fabricated based off inspiration from rappers I admire, like Young Gravy. I honestly can't believe that this song was made part of the allegations. It's a rap song I made for content about nothing. Fair enough. Astronova claims that I was in a relationship at the time. This is not true. I just ended a 7-year relationship months prior and had asked to talk to someone before Astronova, but I was not in a relationship at that time. There's also a tweet going around, which I wish I could find right now, where his ex is literally saying that, like, they were together. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. I swear I saw one earlier. I could be wrong. Hawkeye wasn't aware that Astronova and I had ever hooked up until recently. I didn't discuss this event with my friends about that time because I genuinely liked Astronova. I did not brag about us. She was not a conquest, and this wasn't some person I wanted to hook up with and abandon. Again, which is fair, but how did everyone find out? That's my only thing. Like, maybe his friends were like, they kind of knew and they could kind of tell. And then they were like, they kind of like said, oh, they probably did that. But her name was thrown into serious allegations. Allegations of which they were like, this is fact. This definitely happened. Which makes me think he probably mentioned it to somebody and he doesn't want to admit it. Which doesn't look good. The more things that you kind of look for lies, the more everything unravels really quickly. So the entire situation is extremely unfortunate. I'm now losing members of my community, losing respect among my friends, and losing money from my sponsorships and partners. Again, please don't fucking mention money when you're trying to fucking respond to sexual assault allegations. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, do you want to look vapid? Like, that vapid? Jesus. Sorry, I never threatened legal action against Astronova. I never tried to silence her. This is what I will get into this because a lot of it I don't agree with. I really don't agree with. According to Astronova, her allegations stem from rereading her journal and reliving that night over a year later. In that, memories of that night have faded. The bar may not have surveillance footage anymore. Why did you need surveillance footage of the bar? What? Just prove how many drinks she had. Bruv, alcohol is... Okay. Again, I'm so confused. I only have the truth and I apologize to anyone affected. Right. Strange, right? Like, I might just be the only one. That's completely fair. I personally think that's really strange. Here are some screenshots that he was talking about. Here's him asking her out on a date, for example. Before you go, this is like, orc, and have been on the mind. Would you ever go on a date with me? Or would you like to someday, maybe, when you're back here? Or was that a one-time thing? Like, honestly, I just have been, like, overthinking. I'm like, I really like the time together. That would be cool. I like getting to know you. Deadass? I'm lame. Don't play with the feels. Okay, cool. Good to know you. I mean, I guess that's him just showing that he asked her out. I don't know about you guys, but I realistically just see someone that's just like, yeah, okay. You know, I don't see this as like, that's so sweet of you. Thank you. I mean, that might not be the type of person she is, but realistically, I'm not seeing, what's the term, game. I'm not seeing game. I'm not seeing flirtatious trading. Again, so it just seems like more words of his that are not quite accurate. Again, this was posted. I feel like I have to mention this because this is something he said. He said this. He said he never threatened her. He didn't try with illegal action, and he didn't silence her or attempt to. However, this is what she tweeted before she had even told anyone she was going to say anything. She tweets this. Today, FaZe Mew said if I don't stop what I'm going to say later today, bear in mind he has no idea what she was going to say. He's going to drop a video of me and him. He filmed without my consent. Okay, now, I feel like there needs to be evidence for that. That is a very serious allegation to make. I thought it was just, they were just throwing that around in the TwitLonger to say, oh, apparently he filmed me. You know, because it's a big friend group, so things are definitely going around. That's definitely a lot of what this is based around. You know, friends saying things through a friend group. But this is horrendous. He's going to drop a video of me and him that he filmed without my consent. If that's not blackmail, I don't know what is. It is blackmail. I'm still going to say what I'm going to say. You're not going to stop me from speaking up. I mean, I would hope it would make you want to speak up more, to be honest. It makes you fucking feel ill knowing that if anyone had threatened to say that to somebody. I should know FaZe Mew has no idea what I'm going to say tonight, and he's already threatening me. I'm tired of running from the truth. You're not going to silence me and the other women. I've not said one word. He's already acting guilty. I'm going to assume this happened through another party. Like he was threatening her through other people. Because there's no screenshots of this. You're treating these allegations against you like content to hype up your audience. I gave no consent to that video you secretly filmed of us. You're not going to blackmail me with it. I'm not sure exactly what their relation to Mew is, other than the fact that here are screenshots of Mew's DMs. And I'm sure loads of you are going to comment, DMs can be faked. I highly doubt that a single DM in this entire thread, and every thread that I show you, is faked. I highly doubt it. I'd love to be proven wrong though, but I highly doubt you'll prove me wrong. He had always had a habit to blackmail people with screenshots and recordings, not only with relationships, but his friendships as well. This isn't new. Me and Alyssa still talk for you information. Oh, that's him saying, me and his ex of 7 years, well, they still talk for your information. I haven't said anything against that. And I hope you're aware I have screenshots of everything. There isn't any lies I've said. I don't lie, Jesse. I have proof of everything. And audio from Alyssa. So yeah, lol with how defensive you just got, you do you. Lol with how defensive you just got, you do. Don't make me actually send a video of everything, Jesse. Dude, you're 25. I need that, like, jeez, this is pathetic. People will do bad things to others and then be surprised when anything comes down on them. Like, what do you expect? Karma's a bitch. Karma is coming for you, and I hope you know that, and karma don't hypocrites. Jesse, what the fuck are you actually talking about? Lol, I see the mask you wear. I'm just sad that I actually looked up to you. Jesse, you can say and think what you want. You don't know anything. I didn't do anything wrong. Lamau. Jesus Christ. Again, I want you to know that even if this person was coming out of complete left field, there's no way to act to another human being. There's no way to act. I'm sorry. Here's him texting someone saying, I really hope you're not trying to be friends with someone who's been constantly trying to cancel you too. I don't have any screenshots of her talking shit about you, but she talked to you and I figured just as much as why you unfollowed me. And then he starts saying he's working on his biggest project yet, and he's been editing for 24 hours. Then on his second account, says he's sat in his chair for the past 12 hours, hasn't moved, working on his biggest project ever that will make him breathe better, sleep at night, and it's a video called Allegations MP4, right? And he has had no comment on the multiple sexual allegations that he buried in the last year. He hasn't said where this Allegations MP4 video is, that he just randomly started prepping before anything happened just because she unfollowed him. He noticed the ashtronova girl unfollowed him, immediately started working on this video, which is very, very strange. He knew what was coming with no context, which means he knew what he did wrong, right? I mean, the fact that he constantly for months kept saying, oh, do you regret it? Do you regret it? Do you regret it? This is strange. And he deleted these tweets. And then here, the paranoia to document things like, bro, you can't be in the right. Recording without consent would not fly here in Texas. The fuck is he talking about? He said he's going to send me and Buns a cease and desist. If we don't stop tweeting, then he's going to release the video. Release a video of us? He filmed us without me knowing? Dude, I was wasted. I'm guessing what he was editing, but has all of his proof in it. What? Then why hasn't he released the video then? It's like he was trying to get proof before it even happened. I had a lot to say and a lot to do, saying he was editing for 14 hours straight. I can't believe he's trying to blackmail me, and he has no idea what I'm even going to do yet. I might tweet something, but I'm not sure yet. This is before this guy has not made a single allegation. But I am strange here, because again, here this is what I was talking about. There is a middleman, and the middleman is this America person. This is directly arguing. That is strange. I'm sorry. I told you this shit was fucking weird on his side, bro. Who the fuck cooks up an allegations video before they know what the allegations actually are? Like, how can you say what's right and wrong if there is nothing to say what was right or wrong other than the fact that you know what happened that night? He must know he did something wrong. Jesus. This is really, like, oh my fucking god. I didn't know it went this deep. I had these tabs ready. I read through it, most of it. Oh my god. He filmed us without me knowing. I was wasted. Sounded like he was trying to get proof from that. Now I'm not sure whether he actually filmed it or not. It's kind of being a bit like not really coherent. We were in his stream VC writing down the shit he's saying. That's fucking disgusting. He's streaming right now. My heart is fucking pounding. I don't think he'd be doing all this. So apparently he was actually fucking live. If someone has that VOD, please fucking send it my way. I did see a clip from it, which we're going to go into now. Here he calls someone to go and blackmail another content creator who has come forward against him. And this is what he has to say.
Hi, you're on stream, by the way. I just wanted to say something really quick.
Okay.
Are you with Panda?
He's streaming right now.
Okay. Whenever he's done, can you look into this thing that's happening right now on Twitter? Somebody that we used to talk to who right, who was like spreading lies and stuff. They're back at it again.
I personally have never understood when people say things like spreading lies. Oh, they're spreading lies about me. I never ever really understood that phrase. I might be digging too deep here, but realistically, I can never trust someone when they say, "Oh, they're spreading lies about me." Like, what do you mean? Do you mean like, oh, they're accusing me of something? Like, why are you saying it like they're spreading lies about me? It sounds so childish and like you don't care at all. It's not even about the fact that you're acknowledging it. You just don't care. You're just like, they're spreading lies about me. What could they be saying? 'Cause I'm perfect. I mean, he clearly acts like that. My guy's 25 acting like this again, by the way. Which is mental. Okay. Not that the behavior is excusable for anybody younger, but it reeks of 18-year-old drama. It really fucking does. Like, this shit would happen when you were at fucking school. This is not normal, man.
Yeah.
I got you.
You're the best.
Yeah, I got you. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
W Maddie.
If you're in here, Space Buns, that was Maddie Honey. Thank you.
W Maddie.
That's him attempting to blackmail
Seriously, I
someone.
don't know what Panda has on you. But Panda's a very, like, you know, he knows his shit. And he told me that you would, like, back the fuck up. And seeing as you haven't, like, let me see what this is.
You want to see the moment that the women in this room realize they are in the wrong room? It's coming up.
If it's something to put you into another depressive spiral, I'm not trying to make fun of people who go into depression. I wouldn't wish that amongst my worst enemies, but I would definitely wish it on you. Because you have been nothing but...
That's when they realize they're in the wrong room. That moment right there. Nice, dude. Just, I've seen that entire look, that whole demeanor before as well. And I want to say, like, it's a scary one. To sit there and be like, I wouldn't wish depression on anyone. Oh, a depression episode? Who cares? But I would wish depression on you because you're a piece of shit. Even if someone was spreading allegations about you, you wouldn't just be like, I wish depression on you. You just wouldn't say that shit because if someone is spreading fake shit like that, it's actually going to affect you so fucking badly, yeah? You don't even have the fucking energy to battle like that. Because people don't do that shit, man. Like, if you're being falsely accused right now, the levels it would knock you down by, man. It's not fucking right, yeah? It will affect you so fucking deeply. You basically shut down. I've seen it happen before. It shuts you down. It's really fucking sad to see someone sit there and act like, oh, it doesn't faze me. I want to blackmail them. Fuck this. I'll blackmail them to stop. That's not right. Anyway, I hope FaZe actually do a fucking good job of investigating this and we actually hear something very soon because this shit is unraveling so quickly. And it's going to explode. I'm sure there's going to be way more to come from this. It's a really fucking sad situation as well because the amount of people that have said some really unhinged shit in the responses to all of these tweets makes me feel sick. Stop taking fucking sides of random people on the internet. Stop sitting there and thinking, oh, all women make this up. Because this is the main problem here, okay? The main fucking problem, yeah, is people thinking that it's, oh, all men get all these, they always get falsely accused. It's always men. It's not always men, but just the fact that most sexual assault cases are usually starting with the man being the accused because it's more likely for a man to sexually assault a woman. That is just a statistic. Don't try to spin a statistic into some sort of like, oh, it's just a stereotype. Oh, it's just so unfair. Not how this shit works, man. It's not how those cogs fucking click together. None of it makes any sense if you start fucking thinking like that. You've got to look at it as there's three sides to every fucking story. Their side, your side, the truth. Simple as that. But it doesn't fucking affect you to the point where you need to be start telling people that they're making up for clout, their story isn't valid, all this shit. It's their fucking experience. It's their fucking story. It's valid to them. Learn some fucking respect. Anyway, that's the end of this. Either wait for more or just realize that this is just a he said, she said situation with a clearly ego-riddled fucking content creator that can't be stopped, looking to blackmail everyone around him. Like, it's unbelievable. So just stop, please, dick riding people like this, and maybe stop doing the opposite and hating on people that come out about stuff like this, because it makes it even harder for people to come out about stuff like this. A lot of people saying, oh, it's so easy to come out about people right now. You can just lie about anything. No, it's insanely difficult because they get blackmailed by their friends, by their peers, other content creators, entire platforms. It's a scary fucking world. So, you know, and we're in a digital world. So there's a lot of stuff to blackmail people with. I'm just sick to death of seeing this shit online, man. It's not about always seeing allegations, because I mean, I am sick of seeing that. I'm sick of seeing content creators not being able to just do right by other people, especially their own, their own, you know? You can't do right by other content creators. Just sick to me, man. And it's sick that everyone online can't seem to just be able to deal with these properly. Like, you just can't process it normally. We live and we learn. And if you watch this video and it's changed your perspective on it and realize, actually, yeah, I shouldn't pick a side, then I'm proud of you. And I appreciate you for listening. But if you didn't, that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, bye.